Hi everyone, meteorologist Ed Valley here, taking a look at a long-range video for you. We'll talk about the next 3 or 4 weeks of weather coming up here, and we're going to start off in the near term. We got some rain in the Ohio Valley and east here today into Thursday, and even into Thursday night. A little bit of cold coming in behind that, and it's a pretty benign weather pattern this weekend. A few very weak shower systems moving in, but what's going to happen here? There's a two-pronged system here for Sunday. System number one is up in southern Canada. System number two is down in parts of the Delta. And what's going to happen is this is going to come together into Monday and produce quite a bit of rainfall in the east. But this area low pressure that's forming and moving northeastward is important because it's going to drive cold in behind it. And you can see that here for early next week, quite cold in the east. And you notice a stormier pattern starting to develop here. It's not the moisture per se, but it's the amount of cold fronts and the amount of low pressure systems that are generating movement of air masses, if you will. So you notice towards Thanksgiving and other cold fronts moving in here with a system trying to develop along it. But the key here, again, is regardless of what happens with this storm, another push of colder air comes in behind it. So it's an oscillating pattern of a little bit of warm ahead of a storm, cold behind the storm. And that's really what we're going to see here through the next 10 days. Now, temperatures over the next 10 days look like this. Let me pull up the most recent run. There it is. You can kind of tell where that storm track is. It's right up in here. Ahead of it, it's warm in parts of New England, you see. But behind it, it's cold in the eastern belt, eastern ag belt into parts of the southeast. That's because of the storm track. Now, out west, that's where our ridging is going to be found. So just based on this map over the next 10 days, I can tell you that there's a mean ridge here and then a mean trough down here in the east. And maybe that kind of comes up something like this. So you get your cold diving in, you got your ridge out here, and then you got some lingering warmth out to the east. So that's kind of what we're seeing moving forward. Now, if you look at the 5-day height anomalies, you can see what I'm talking about. So week one, there's your ridge down southwest, warmth out ahead of it, and then the week two pattern, again, the ridge still out west, and then you got your blast of cold air in the 5 to 10 day. So it's a cold pattern here for the Thanksgiving week, but again, there's going to be ups and downs in it. You see here today a big push of warmth ahead of that storm system for Wednesday in the east and tomorrow as well, but then for Friday, here it comes, and into the weekend, there it is. And then we rebound slightly early next week ahead of that storm system, and then by Tuesday and Wednesday behind it, it's cold again. And then you notice by the end of the week, yet another shot of colder air comes in. So the next 10 days, a lot of ups and downs. But again, we're going to lean colder than normal in the eastern U.S., save for perhaps part of New England. And then again, back west, it's much warmer. Okay, so that's the next 10 days. So I want to talk about this pattern from a more macro view. And we're starting here tomorrow morning. And I want to point your attention to the high latitudes. You notice there's not a lot of ridging, Greenland and near Alaska, right? So I brought up that storm system early next week for a reason, because look at this. Here comes that storm system Monday, Tuesday. And you're going to notice by day 7, you see this storm system right over New England. That's important because it's actually going to help amplify the block developing in Greenland here. Here's our low pressure, and here's that block. And that block is going to be with us for the week 2 time frame and probably even into the first week of December. And that's important because you notice what happens here is we get a mean trough in the eastern United States. The ridge is up north. We got the ridge in the west. And the result is colder than normal. And you see that here as we zoom it on in for the 5 to 12 day, for the 8 to 15 day. You notice the east is where it's at. And you notice the 14-day period as a whole. We showed you the 10-day earlier. The 14-day tells the same story, right? The GFS, same story. So this pattern here into the end of November is legitimately on the cold side. And we talked about that block near Greenland for a reason. That's our negative NAO. And let me show you that. There it is. So you look at this pattern, it's been up and down, right? And right now, what did we say? We said there was not a lot of blocking near Greenland. And it's really not until about Sunday, Monday, as that storm system develops in the east and helps pump up that ridge. And that's where you get that negative NAO here right through the tail end of December. It does try to return back towards normal. Still some uncertainty as to how quickly that occurs. You look at the GFS, you notice it's a little bit longer with that negative NAO. And even the Canadian model here, you notice looking at the NAO, it peaks here around Thanksgiving, but notice there's only a few runs that take it back positive, right? You look at the European model in the matrix with all 51 of its members, you can clearly see where the peak of that NAO is. It's right around Thanksgiving, the 25th, 26th. But then as you get out further in time, there's not really a big signal to make this go strongly positive either. So typically, we like to look at our analogs and see what those are saying. And here you can see the dates in the bottom right corner that line up with what we're seeing. You got the Greenland block here, cold in the eastern U.S. This is the day 11 analog, centered on the 27th of November. Now, what I did was I plotted those on our separate plotter, and you see what the pattern is. What I'm going to do here is roll them forward 5 days at a time. So this is basically day 11. You see the ridge. Here's day 16. Notice the ridge or the trough intensifies. You see that? Here's day 21. And here's day 28. You notice the common theme here of recurring troughs in the eastern U.S. driven by the ridging here in southeastern Canada and up into Greenland. So that is a concern we have. And if you look at our weekly data, it kind of tells that similar story. So looking at the 15 to 20 day, the first 5 days of December, you notice the block near Greenland, trough in the east. 20 to 25 day, see the block starting to weaken a little bit, but the trough, the mean trough is still there. And as we head here into the 25 to 30, that's when we see things potentially backing off a little bit as that block degrades. But that's not until the middle of December. So it's important we're looking at everything here. And, we're looking here at our GFS extended, and you notice a similar story. Through the 10th of December, you still got that mean trough in the east. And again, there's going to be ups and downs within that trough, but it's really not until we get towards the 15th of the month and 20th of the month where that block goes away enough where we actually see some warming in the central and eastern U.S. So there's a potential here. It could stay rather chilly compared to normal here into the first half of December as well. Here's what that shows. The first week of December, cold in the east. Second week of December, also cold in the east. Again, there's still some uncertainty here, but the trend certainly looks to be heading in that direction. Colder than normal. Northern tier and perhaps in the northeast, warmest down to the south and west. So we're going to continue to watch this. And it's going to be a situation where this could evolve over time. Again, our day 15 data is still pretty chilly. Looking here at day 15, you can see on the GFS, you still have that trough in the east. The European, it's a similar story. Trough in the east. Again, but it's important we verify this because both models have warmth trying to get back into the central U.S., and the GFS is actually quite warm here around day 15. So we'll watch it. That's our update for today. We'll be back tomorrow, on Friday with another video.